Welcome back to another episode of Green Disruptors. I apologize, I'm recording our intro on vacation on a balcony, so excuse the sound quality. But this is the podcast where we meet the innovators reshaping our planet's future. Today I'm speaking with Jim Holland, co-founder of Carma. That's Carma with a C, a purpose-led B-Corp and social enterprise transforming how businesses contribute to environmental and social good. Jim's story is anything but ordinary. From growing up in a mining town in northern England to serving in the Royal Navy to corporate leadership and finally launching a reforestation tech platform that's already planted over 1 million trees. His journey is one of resilience, reinvention, and radical impact. So buckle up. You're going to be inspired and entertained by this one. This podcast is brought to you by Mountaintop Social Marketing. Thanks for listening. All right, welcome back to Green Disruptors, everybody. Today I've got Jim Holland on with me, and this is going to be a really fun conversation. So fasten your seatbelts. So hi, Jim. Welcome.
Hi, Megan. Wonderful to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you. So tell us who you are and tell us about Carma.
So my name's Jim Holland. I'm the co-founder of a company called Karma, which has been going, this is our 4th year now. And Karma is short for carbon karma.
Which we all want at this point.
We all want carbon
We want
karma.
good carbon karma.
Good carbon karma, that's right. Because doing good makes you feel good. And that's one of our taglines. We're a B Corp, a social enterprise, and a veteran founded and led business. We won the Soldiering On Award, which is a UK award for the best startup in 2023. It was an award that meant something. It was an award that we didn't nominate ourselves for, and we didn't have to pay an inordinate amount of money to win it. So immensely proud to win an award that actually means something.
That is amazing. So I think the veteran founded is really relevant to your story and who you are. So I think it would be cool to hear about your background a little bit.
Absolutely. So I'm from a town in the north of England called Barnsley. It was a mining village, and very sadly, the mining industry was closed down by the UK government in the mid to early 1980s. So when I left school with very weak qualifications, shall we say, there was very little opportunity. It was 80% male unemployment. So I had a decision to make. And
Wow, 80%?
80% male unemployment.
That's crazy.
Well,
Yeah.
they closed all the minefields down, and that was
Yeah.
where all the employment was. So I found myself in a bit of a quandary, and I made the best
Yeah.
decision of my entire life, Megan. I joined the Royal Navy, got on a one-way train to Plymouth, and had the most wonderful 13 years of my life, traveling the world, getting to learn all about people, different cultures. More importantly, I got to learn all about myself, and that was my
Yeah.
biggest lesson in the Navy, understanding myself and and that interdependency with others. I played an inordinate amount of sport. I was reasonable at rugby, very good at taking contact and tackling. And fortunate enough to play for the Navy at Rugby League. I then got injured and pensioned out of the Navy at the tender age of 30, and then made the worst decision of my life. I went back to Barnsley. And despite at this point, yeah, I know. I had at this point I'd got a degree in computing, a HND in electronic and electrical engineering, a wealth of life experience, and I went back to Barnsley, and it hadn't changed.
Mm.
Employment was still 40% male unemployment. I really struggled with a distinct lack of opportunities. So I did what any self-respecting sailor with a pocket full of cash and a head full of ideas should do. Or a pub, and
Logical decision.
well, yes, and it was a wonderful 2 years, but I lost all my money. I maintained my integrity, but I lost all my money, and liquidated the pub. Still no jobs on the horizon. I was really struggling to make ends meet. I got a job as a roofer, earning £40, $50 a day, and really struggled. And I was very fortunate because I was 4 years into my resettlement journey. One of my old bosses from the Royal Navy rang me up. Excuse me. He said, "Jim, how are you getting on?" I said, "Honestly, Steve, I'm struggling." He said, "Wow." I said, "There's just no industry in Barnsley." He said, "But you're the best qualified out of all of us." I said, "Well, I'm roofing. He went, roofing? Wow. He said,
What are you doing?
yeah, that was his exact words. And he said, well, would you consider moving to? And I went, yes. And he said, well, I haven't told you where yet. And he worked for Vodafone, which is the biggest telco in the world. The headquarters in Newbury, in West Berkshire, about an hour out of London. And he said, I'm here. My boss is recruiting. We're a team of Unix engineers. Send me a CV. I'll send it to my boss, and he'll give you a ring. So I sent him my CV straight away. 10 minutes later, the phone rang. That's Mike O'Connor from Vodafone. I'm reading your CV, Jim. Looks brilliant. You'll be the best qualified person in my team. He said, however, I'm looking for Unix skills. We're a team of Unix engineers. It doesn't mention Unix on your CV. What do you know about Unix? So I just said, hand on heart, Mike. I've just Googled it. There's 48 commands. How hard can it be? And he just started laughing. He went, that is brilliant. Come and have an interview. So I went down to Newbury. It's about 3 hours drive. And 3 weeks later, I rocked up at Vodafone. And that was my resettlement. A huge company with a clear mission, clear vision, clear values, and more importantly, a set of objectives. Because I hadn't realised it, what I was missing. When you leave the armed forces, you lose three things overnight. Your forces family, your purpose, and your identity.
Yeah.
And losing all those three things at once.
All at once.
Yeah. And I really struggled. And I hadn't compensated for it in any way, shape or form. Definitely, Vodafone gave me all those three things back in spades. And that was my resettlement. I had 8 years there. I met my wife, Sally, there. We've now got 4 daughters. The youngest one is 9, the oldest one's 15. So I'm just about coming to a bit of fun in my life. I'm quite aware of that. It's beautiful. So I had 8 years at Vodafone. I did all kinds of jobs from Unix engineer to I ended up running the entire B2C fulfillment part of the operation. Got headhunted and went to Sky, which is a subsidiary of Comcast, a broadcaster. 2.5 years there, I was head of quality and compliance and head of sales. Then I went to Stansted Airport, and I was head of commercial, run the P&L for the landside operation. It was brilliant. Of course, COVID hit, and airports were very hard hit during COVID. So I was furloughed for 6 months, the best 6 months of my life. I was on a great wage. Sent home, spending all day, every day with my wife and my 4 kids. And it was brilliant. And that gave me the break I needed to sort of reflect on my life. I had a great career in the armed forces. I had a great corporate career. But what hadn't I done that I always wanted to achieve? And sadly, I lost a Royal Navy Rugby League teammate to suicide 15 years ago, a guy called Nigel Burkitt. All the team went to his funeral. Unannounced, we all turned up. But beyond that, life gets in the way. And we didn't do anything beyond it. Well, COVID gave us all that headspace to do things that we hadn't managed to achieve because life had got in the way. We formed a charitable association called In Touch Royal Navy Rugby League. And In Touch was built on 3 pillars: reset, reconnect, relive. And it was through that process that I reconnected with the old captain of the Royal Navy Rugby League team, a guy called Andy Steele. And Andy, when he left the Navy 20 years ago, he'd started the Plant a Tree Today Foundation. And he's planted 3.5 million trees over the last 20 years. Yeah, he'd moved out to Bangkok, did a lot of his planting in Southeast Asia. And when I'm talking to him, he'd got a blurred background on. I said, Andy, are you still in Bangkok? He said, no. I've moved from Bangkok back to Hull. I went, you've moved from Bangkok to Hull? I said, wow, that's a bold decision. They only invented Hull to make Barnsley look like Las Vegas. I mean, Hull.
Yikes.
Hull's a really impoverished part of another industrial town in the north.
Yeah.
I mean, he said, well, I had to come home at some point. I said, so what are you doing? He said, I'm still planting trees. He said, started a subsidiary of the Green Task Force of the PAT Foundation called the Green Task Force. And the Green Task Force provides positive pathways to employment for veterans and service leavers through nature-based tasks. He said, you won't get this, Lofty. He calls me Lofty because I'm 5'7" and he's 6'2". He said, you won't get this. But 10% of all people leaving the armed forces struggle to find employment, and a further 15% need a hand up, not a hand out, within the
A
first 2
hand
years.
up. Yeah.
I said, well, hold on a minute. Why wouldn't I get that? He said, well, you've done all right, Lofty. I said, well, I might have done all right now, but the first 4 years could have gone one way or the other for me, Andy. I really struggled
Yeah.
to excel. He said, well, you love what we're doing with the Green Task Force. Some of the guys and girls have got PTSD and we treat them through nature-based therapy. Everyone gets a vocational qualification in horticulture. And then we work with companies and employers to get them back on the employment ladder. I'm like, Andy, I said, I love this. I just love the whole concept. How can I help? And he said, well, you can't plant trees, Lofty. How was ever you got injured? I said, well, I wasn't thinking about planting trees. How can I help your business? And he said, well, it's simple. The metrics are simple. The more trees we get to plant, the more social value we can create and the more environmental impact we will make. And I'm like, right, I'm going to create a digital platform that connects businesses and consumers to afforestation and reforestation projects all around the world. And you're going to be my fulfillment partner in the UK. And he just laughed. He went, come on then. And we did that. And that was, nearly 4 years ago now. And since then, we've planted 1.3 million trees ourselves. We've engaged over 600 businesses. We just love what we do. And the proposition.
That's incredible. So of these 1 million+ trees you've planted, has it mostly been in the UK, or have you started, with the network that he already had?
Yeah, so we 20% of them have been done in the UK. So the other 80% been done in overseas, in Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, Madagascar. So we've really cast the net, and we've got different price points. Our service offering, we do fully hosted corporate tree planting days where clients can bring their team along and have
Great.
immersive
So they can really buy in and personally connect with it. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, I mean that is a panacea of everything we offer. It's a reasonable investment, but what companies derive from it is amazing, and it's wonderful watching people. And I thought it would all be about team building and working together, shared purpose. But actually, what happens on a tree planting day, you set people off and they're a little bit nervous at first, and they think they're going to be planting 12-foot oaks, and it's actually 30-centimeter whips, and they start putting them in the ground, and almost immediately they can see the impact they're having. And it's hardwired in us. We're innately programmed to tend for our natural environment.
Yeah.
If you go back a couple of thousand years, we all lived on the land, we farmed the land, we hunted and gathered from our immediate vicinity. Now people live in villages, towns and cities. They're that little bit removed, so when you get them out and you get dirt in the fingers, they have this amazing connection with their inner self, and it just feels good. Because doing good makes you feel good, and people, they have this really strong emotional connection with the self. It's amazing. Brilliant to watch.
I love that.
Yeah.
So is there? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, sorry. I was just going to say every single planting day that happens without fail. People.
You don't have to orchestrate it. It just naturally happens. Yeah.
Yes.
That's not surprising. So do you have a particular kind of business that seems to be attracted to what you're doing, or is there a specific type of partner that you look for in particular?
Well, the great thing about our business, it's agnostic of who we do business on. We're relevant to everyone, and whether that's defence sector lovers, recruiters, accountants, banks, construction, particularly. It's just energy companies. We can work as closely with a business or as remotely. People can send us money. We plant trees on their behalf. They get a digital dashboard so they can demonstrate how many trees they've planted, how much social value they've created. Because when you plant a tree, Megan, three wonderful things happen. First of all, you employ someone to do it, helping them with the social mobility, the mental health, being able to put dinner on the table. It's a wonderful thing to do. Secondly, you get net biodiversity gain. And finally, over time, a tree sequesters CO2 and breathes out oxygen. I always say, hands up, who doesn't like oxygen?
No
It's just
hands.
no hands. There's never any hands. And yeah, we bring that all to life on the impact dashboard. So whether you're paid, some people plant a tree a month, $4.99
Yeah.
for a UK tree, or 50 cents for an overseas tree, and but it lights up on the dashboard, and it's their way of bridging that gap between society and the ecosystem, giving something back to society, giving something back to Mother Earth. And it's a wonderful thing to do.
So how have you managed, like from a marketing and growth perspective? Because when you could potentially work with anybody, it's probably hard in the beginning to to manage your marketing strategy. So how did you deal with that?
We've been fortuitous in things dropping on our laps that have worked for us. So we partnered with a couple of trade shows. One was called the Accountex, and they plant a tree for every attendee, 16,000 people coming through the doors, and we get to meet a lot of accountants who want to do good, but they're time poor and knowledge poor. So we give them a plug and play solution in the way of a subscription. They love it, sign up en masse, and that's them doing their little bit for society. Also, we work with recruitment. So again, we turn up at a recruitment show, and I was like, look, recruiters are not going to be bothered about us. We're all about social value and environmental impact. We'll go because they're paying for the trees, but don't hold your breath. Straight away, we got there within a couple of hours, which signed a load of people up. Because again,
Interesting.
just they want to be seen to do good, but they actually want to do good because, like I keep saying, doing good makes you feel good. What we give them is tangible, it's transparent. They can put their impact dashboard on the website to show their customers and the potential customers, their employees, that they're actually giving back to people, the planet, and it's a great way of engaging the workforce as well. So it's just
Yeah. So is that the kind of feedback that you've had from existing partnerships? Is there like, great, this makes us look good, it makes us feel good. Like, are there any objections that people have? Like, or because I know in some different sectors, it's like people are doing things like this just for compliance sake, but it sounds like that's not the case with who you're partnering with.
Absolutely not. So it's voluntary. However, some businesses, the defence sector, they've got to demonstrate the social value and environmental impact. Well, because of what we do, we're very data driven. So everything's empirical. All of our trees are triply verified, the blockchain encrypted, so they can't be sold twice. We've got geospatial data, so you can see exactly where they're planted. They light up on your dashboard. So it's irrefutable, because that was the first 18 months of this business. People say, well, how do we know they're planted? There's this deep mistrust. People are cynical. And now we've overcome all those objections. We've brought it to life with tech, and everyone's really buying into it, and they can't get enough of it. And some people ring me, oh, I'm doing this bid, and they're asking me what I'm doing in the social value and environmental impact space. I'm like, if you go online and have a look at our top tier plan and sign up, straight away on your website, it will demonstrate how much social value you're about to create and how much environmental impact. They're like, is it that easy? So they sign up, put it into the bid, and they ring me up and say, we won the business. It's just like, it's great to be able to help, because everybody wins in that transaction. The business
Yeah.
who's acquiring business, the business who is bidding to win it, and then of course people and the planet.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty amazing, and it's nice to hear that people are so enthusiastic about wanting to make an impact. So, I mean, what is the next year looking like for you guys in terms of growth and new partnerships and goals?
So the next year we're on a massive customer acquisition drive. So we've identified the sweet spot, which is SMEs, 5 to 250 customers who need to be seen to be doing the right thing to win more business, to engage their employees, to increase conversion at checkout if they're an online business. So we're just standing up a new website, which will be ready, I'm being told, by the IT team, 16th of June. We'll then put a weight of marketing behind that. We'll make it really easy for us to convert people digitally, because at the minute there's a lot of handholding needs to be done through the sales process. But we're going to refine that, and we're going to start blowing people's socks off and really pushing the digital marketplace.
Wonderful. As a digital marketer, that's exciting to hear. So what do you view as like the biggest challenge with that? Because this does sound like, a new growth curve. So yeah.
So segmentation. So we've got, I've mentioned the corporate tree planting, but we've got then two further products that we want to market digitally. One is the impact plans, which is just a plug and play. You subscribe, and every month hundreds of trees get planted on your behalf. Then we've got the tree commerce. So plant a tree for every product or service sold.
Tree commerce. I love that. That's catchy.
It's brilliant, isn't it? And we've got an API.
It is.
We've got Shopify app, which you just download, and for every product purchase, or every £10 or $10 purchase, or every order over £300, you could plant a tree. It's just how we differentiate between those two products in the marketplace, identify our target customers, and we've done the ideal customer profiling. We must have done that 5 or 6 times, and it's how we pinpoint with laser focus and get into those Shopify stores, the tree-com business.
Yeah.
And then the impact plans, and of course you're a marketeer, so the cost to acquire a customer, we need to drive that right down and serve them digitally. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting. That's speaking my language now. So, I mean, there's always going to be bumps in the road in that process, and it's always just test, make a decision based on the data, test, and you'll figure it out. But that's exciting. Is there anything that you would like to kind of add before we wrap up the conversation about, I guess maybe if you could speak to your ideal client, give your little elevator pitch to us.
Yeah, so I always say when I speak to every client, what does it say about your business if you're supporting veterans and the environment? It says you're a business that cares, and what we deliver at Karma are real projects with real people creating real impact. We stand out in the marketplace. As I said right at the top, we're a purpose-led company. We're a B-Corp and a social enterprise, and we'd love to talk to more people wherever they are. We've got a solution for them in this space, and we're just trying to do the right thing. Because one thing I've learned throughout my life, and it's been an eclectic career, as I've already stated, but the more you know, the less you need, and the less you need, the more you can give. And this next chapter for us is all about giving.
Yeah, and if you can have, I mean, just the whole concept of karma, I think it's interesting that you chose that, and I'm sure it's very intentional. But the type of energy that you're giving out and putting into the world, it's like those are the kinds of businesses that are attracted to you, and like that shared value is, going to continue to make you successful, I think.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Okay. What's your website if people want to find you?
It's carma, carma.earth.
Carma.earth. Beautiful. Well, thanks so much for coming on, Jim, and thanks for your service to humanity.
Thank you, Megan. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yes, same. Likewise.
Thanks again, listeners, for tuning into this episode of Green Disruptors. Thank you, Jim, for your inspirational story and your mission that Karma is every day working to fulfill. If you want to support reforestation, create social value, or just learn more about how tree planting can become part of your company's DNA, visit carma.earth, and that's karma with a C. And remember, doing good makes you feel good. And that's the kind of karma we can all get behind. Until next time, keep disrupting for good.